My name is Ellie, and I'm 61 years old. This is my story about the day I got married for the second time and how everything in my life turned upside down in the best and hardest ways possible. After my first husband passed away 15 years earlier, I spent a long time feeling lonely. I raised my son Darius on my own, working long hours cleaning houses to provide for him. I sacrificed a lot, my health, my time, my dreams, just to make sure he had a good life. But as he grew up, things changed. He became obsessed with money and status. He married Tasha, a woman who looked down on everyone who didn't have wealth, and together they lived a flashy life, full of expensive clothes, cars, and vacations. For years, Darius barely paid attention to me. He'd ignore my calls, forget my birthdays, and spend holidays with Tasha's family instead. When I needed help, like money for surgery or house repairs, he'd lend it, but only with interest, like I was a stranger. It hurt, but I loved him because he was my only child. I also adored my grandchildren, Miles and Chloe, who were 6 and 4 at the time. Then I met Eli. He was a kind, quiet man with silver hair and calloused hands from years of hard work. He lived simply in a small apartment, drove an old car, and dressed in plain clothes. But he made me feel seen and loved in a way I hadn't felt in decades. When he looked at me, I felt special. We dated for 6 months, and he asked me to marry him. I said yes, and I poured my life savings into planning a beautiful wedding with 400 guests, elegant decorations, great food, live music. I wanted it to be perfect, a celebration of finally finding happiness again. The ceremony was in a stunning ballroom. I wore a champagne-colored dress, and Eli looked handsome in his simple gray suit. As we stood at the altar, everything felt right. But then the mocking started. It came from Darius and Tasha's table. Tasha whispered loudly about me marrying a pauper, and her family laughed. They made jokes about Eli's shoes and suit, calling him cheap and unworthy. Darius, who'd been drinking, stood up during the vows and interrupted everything. He called Eli pathetic and trash, saying I was wasting my money on a gold digger. Tasha joined in, agreeing that Eli was just street garbage. Her whole family, about 20 people, cheered and laughed, even pulling out phones to record it. The room went silent. 400 guests stared in shock. I felt humiliated, my heart breaking. But something inside me snapped. I wasn't going to let them ruin my day. I walked up to Darius and told him the truth, how I'd sacrificed everything for him, how lonely he'd left me, how he treated me like a burden while taking my money. I pointed out his hypocrisy, like refusing to help me but buying expensive watches. Tasha called me desperate and old. Her family kept insulting Eli. But Eli stayed calm the whole time, giving me strength. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I told Darius, Tasha, and their entire family to leave. This is my wedding, I paid for it, and you don't deserve to be here. They argued, threatened, and caused more chaos, but I stood firm. Security was ready to escort them out if needed. Darius even said I'd never see my grandkids again if I did this. It broke my heart, but I chose my happiness. They left dramatically, shouting insults as they went. The room was tense, and I was shaking, tears running down my face. I thought I'd ruined everything. But then the guests started clapping in support. My best friend Vivian stood up for me too. Eli hugged me and said I was brave. Then, with everyone listening, Eli revealed his secret. "Honey, I'm a billionaire." I couldn't believe it. He explained he had over $2 billion from building a huge real estate company. After his first wife died of cancer, he saw how money attracted fake people, so he hid his wealth to find someone who loved him for himself. That's why he lived simply. He wanted me to see my family's true colors before telling me. He'd started from nothing, worked hard in construction, invested wisely, and built an empire. But money couldn't save his wife, so he donated hospitals and started foundations to help others. He chose me because I was kind and genuine. Like the day we met at the market when I picked up a dropped tomato for him on my bad knee. Everything clicked. He'd even anonymously paid off a debt Darius owed me, just to test if my son would be honest. He wasn't. The wedding continued without the toxic people, and it became joyful again. Eli publicly announced his company, and guests were amazed. We danced, celebrated, and I felt truly happy. That night in the luxury suite, Eli said nothing between us had changed. He was still the same man. He asked why I thought he chose me. Because I was real and made him feel alive. The next day, he showed me his world, flying in his helicopter, pointing out buildings he owned, the free cancer hospital he donated, his company headquarters. His lawyer transferred huge assets to me: bank access, properties, a $50 million fund, and trust funds for my grandkids. Eli said I could live simply or luxuriously, my choice. But my mind was on Darius. Eli's investigation showed Darius was in deep debt, nearly $2 million, from bad investments and overspending. Some creditors were dangerous. When Darius learned Eli was rich, he sent messages regretting the misunderstanding and asking for money or business deals, using me as leverage. No real apology to me. It hurt, but I decided not to bail him out. He needed to face consequences to learn. Eli protected the grandkids with security. We went on honeymoon to his private island, but updates came. Darius lost his car, house, everything. Tasha left him, took the kids, and divorced him. I visited Darius in his rundown apartment. He looked broken, unshaven, drunk, desperate. He begged for forgiveness and money, saying dangerous people threatened him. I told him his cruelty came from thinking Eli was poor. If he'd known the wealth, he'd have acted differently. That showed his true character. I refused the money, but gave him Eli's lawyer's card for legal help with bankruptcy and protection. I said rebuilding our relationship depended on real change from him. Seeing my grandkids would take time. 6 months later, things improved. Darius hit rock bottom, but started rebuilding. With the lawyer's help, he declared bankruptcy safely, got a job in construction, starting low, and lived simply. He gave talks about avoiding materialism and financial mistakes. He sent me a long handwritten apology letter, sincere, no asks for money. We started weekly phone calls, slow and honest. He paid back the old debt with overtime work. I texted, "I'm proud of you," and it meant the world to him. We met for coffee, and I arranged visits with the grandkids. Tasha allowed it eventually. Eli was great with them, teaching life lessons. A year after the wedding, we renewed vows in a small ceremony. Darius attended with the kids. He apologized to Eli too. I started a foundation helping abandoned elderly women. Looking back, that chaotic wedding day led to true love, wealth, family healing, and self-strength. I wouldn't change a thing. Tough love helped Darius grow, and I finally put my happiness first.